That time. How are
One
you?
day at a time. I'm alright, Ain't nothing that us giants can't handle, right?
I don't know.
It try to bring us down to the least common denominator, but we good. We're alive. We're alive. We're not always well, but we're alive.
We're here. That's a good start for sure.
Yes, yes, yes. So I truly appreciate you for joining me. Um, I'm gonna let you know before I get started that I was I have like these fruition, these thoughts that come to mind, and I was like, I know Simone, I know your story is a story that hasn't been told before. I know that, and I was like, I want to create a new series called like Chronically Well Podcast now, like right here in the now, because we know our time here isn't forever. And I want to make sure that you're able to gift the community your story now, like not having to wait. Most people wait 2 to 3 months before their episodes come out, but I know you need to be heard now because there's so many disruptions in the world and society, things against you. And I just want you to be able to like let people know a little bit more about who you are and your resilience and your growth, all of those things, because I truly honor and I truly respect you. We have not had any off-air conversations truly, but
Right.
I've seen you over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. So Simone, thank you for joining me on the Chronically Well podcast, where we have real conversations with community that needs to be heard. You are someone that truly needs and deserves to be heard. Could you please give our audience a summary of who you are?
Um, yeah. Hey, well, thanks for having me. Also, um, I'm Simone Satchel. I'm an artist. I was. I used to do a lot of different things, like art education, um, baking, etc. But I'm been type 1 diabetic since this October will be my 32nd diaversary. And I've had end stage renal disease since November 2021. I've been doing dialysis at home since April 2023. Um, did I say I'm an artist?
Yes, you did.
Okay, then
And
yeah.
I jotted it down.
Yeah. Um, have a lot of different complications with um, from type 1 diabetes. I'm queer, also trans, um, and I'm a New York City nomad.
New York City Nomad. Were you trying to give me a title to this episode?
I started in Staten Island. I feel like people need
Gotcha.
that, although that's not usually the first thing I want to say. But I've lived in each borough multiple times. I'm in the Bronx now.
Okay. In the Bronx now, boogie down.
Yeah.
Look, you've been all over the city, all over
Yeah.
all
Also
over
Jersey. Also Jersey.
Jersey,
Well, Jersey
North.
City. Yeah.
Okay, North Jersey.
Yeah.
Got you. East New York, all over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving me that introduction of who you are because, like I said, the community truly deserves to hear who you are. You are a true gift. Again, when I first came about you, I was like, I need to get to know Simone because I knew you were an artist. You used to paint and stuff. Like I haven't seen it in a while. I understand health is health.
Yeah.
got to keep Simone alive. I'm equally an artist, working in art education. I've started many different art organizations.
Uh,
Yeah, but something you got up on me is 10 years in the diabetes game.
oh, do I?
But yeah, I'm 22 years in.
Uh,
You almost 32 years in.
yeah,
You were diagnosed as a little one.
yeah. I was right after my 10th birthday, basically.
Yes. Right after your 10th birthday.
Yeah,
Mm, when was your
very
birthday?
September 18th.
September is my favorite month.
Mine too. When's
Love
your
it.
birthday?
My birthday's January, but September, that's my wife's birthday.
Oh, my most of my family's in January.
Yep, that's my anniversary. Yeah, September is my favorite month.
January what though?
18th.
Oh, that's my. I got a lot of family on that day.
Okay. Look, that shows that we're people.
Indeed.
Look, family including me.
1818 too.
Look, family including me, right?
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah, we are a family. Being diagnosed at 10 years young, 10 years young, and when
In
I tell
Staten
people,
Island in the
look,
90s, that was hard.
right,
they were very. I don't know. I didn't feel like I was treated tenderly at all.
right,
Which,
it was only you and Ghostface.
right,
Look, in the 90s, diagnosed in Staten Island, yeah, that was you and Ghostface.
right. They were
And,
they were very. I don't know. I feel like I didn't get a lot of like. It was like, so get the symptoms, like peeing a lot. My teacher noticed actually, and my teacher was like, maybe you should take Simone to the doctor because peeing a lot. I was going to the bathroom a lot. Remember drinking a lot, but at that time I wasn't like a water drinker, so I'm sure that didn't help. So drinking a lot of juice, just feeling like perpetually thirsty, peeing a lot. That's all I really remember. I remember not feeling well, but not like in what way. And then yeah, my teacher noticed because I'm not really sure. Maybe my teacher also had diabetes, to be honest. I don't even remember, but mentioned to my mom at like a teacher conference that maybe he should take me to see the doctor. Went to see the doctor, and my blood sugar was really high. They sent me to the hospital. My grandmother, my dad's mom, was also diabetic. I don't know which type. I know she took insulin, but I don't really remember like as much of the details. Especially around that time, she was pretty sick. She died like the next year. It was on dialysis, but I didn't know what any of those things meant or like what they were. I, I kind of didn't really understand dialysis until I had to do it, to be honest. Um, but yeah, it was a lot to navigate as a young person. I think my mom was very more. I think my mom gave faith in the doctors more than maybe they should have. It's doctors and like medical professionals more than maybe she should have. But yeah, I just felt like there was like a lack of tenderness or like me like or even like kind of like I guess this like transition from like how things were the day before, why I wasn't feeling well. Definitely education or like explaining things to me in a way that I could understand. Um, they were like, it's just a lot of scare tactics, a lot of threatening, which I feel like was pretty perpetual throughout my time as a diabetic, to be honest, not just as a young person, but still. But yeah, I remember the first thing because I was afraid of needles. And I remember being like, yeah, I'm not doing that, or this is not happening.
What's the alternative to me taking these needles, right?
Right, right. Or just like, yeah, y'all could do it if you need to, but like, and I think like, that's the thing, like, they were just saying these things as if I was supposed to know them or understand them just because they said it once. Like they had the educator. They told me I would need to take needles. I'm like, no. But they're like, basically, you'll never get to leave the hospital if you don't learn. And then I was like, okay, I don't want to stay here because y'all are mean, kind of thing. So I learned, but I initially refused to learn. And I think, well, I don't know, but I just, I think the start of it kind of, I think, geared how I kind of handled my diabetes for a long time.
Right. Well, again, considering you were 10 years young, what were you in fourth, fifth grade? Like
Yeah, fifth grade.
fifth grade, and my youngest son just graduated fifth grade 2 days ago. So I'm like,
Oh, congrats.
there's, thank you. There's no way. Even my older children who are 14 and 16, there's no way if they were given this diagnosis today, they would be able to not only handle it, but understand it. Even though they've lived with me the entirety of their life, there's no way that they could understand the ins and outs of this condition unless you truly live with it. And at such a young age, 10 years young, again, fifth grade, like you're learning new everything, new sports, you're learning who you like, you're learning your hormones, your inner workings, like everything about your own body. You learning how much you hate math. like and now you got and now they
Low-key,
just
yeah, man.
threw all these numbers at you and all this math. It's so much. It's like you walked into a facility where you're like, oh, they're going to care for me, they're going to make me better. But once you got there, they threw all these books at you, threw all this luggage on you, threw like gave you a new life, a new existence, and was like, you're not who you thought you were. This is who you are now. And you're like, but I like to do this. I like to do that. I don't like needles. But
Right,
they almost force fed you like this is what you must do. Like instead of being endearing,
right,
instead of being warm and welcoming. And I understand some people like they do get that approach to a diagnosis, but they shouldn't get that approach unless first there's a psychological evaluation
right,
where they can see if the child, if their parents can, if they understand it and how they will actually navigate through it.
right,
So there was a whole skipped step in education. And
right,
I'm sorry for that for you, Simone, because we know if on day one you're given the education, the resources, it's not just your mom, like the entirety of your family, if they're given that, then
right,
they will look out for you, help lessen this burden.
right.
It's
Yeah.
too much.
Yeah, the medical field seems to like have one focus. There's like it's weird because they pick the body parts that they focus on or the system they focus on, but somehow
Mhm.
they don't like consider that the mind or like is still part of your body or like that's less considered. I mean, especially then, still even now, even though I feel like they're trying to maybe consider a bit more than I'm used to them doing, but like it's yeah, it's odd. Like you're like I don't know, it's like the education, yes, but like just the consideration of like processing these things, taking it in or like understanding it and absorbing that like this will change the trajectory. I mean, I sure wasn't really like thinking about the maybe I was. There was like a lot of those like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? A lot as a young person. I'm not sure where, but like it came up a lot. And I think I feel like at a point I just was trying to get through the month or the day or like the year, and I'm still like struggling to like plan too far ahead just because of how many times I heard, "Oh, I almost died," or like, "You're gonna die," or "You're gonna be blind by this age," or etc. But it was never like these are things that could happen because of this. It was always like they didn't think or they didn't think I cared enough about myself, so they would threaten me with things that maybe scared them. Um, and they scared me, but I think I was also trying to take power. So like
Mhm.
there was the only thing I had power in was what I ate or what I chose to eat. Definitely was an emotional eater from a very young age, like before um, diabetes, right? So like that was always still like my tactic to like I guess take power back or like have some sort of control over something, you know. Because right after I got diagnosed, like I was originally they called me overweight, and then like right after I got diagnosed, I became underweight. So then that like year of like sixth grade, give or take, I was on this diet of like eating double
Right.
and but like not double of like snacks or things I wanted, but like double meals or like two
Protein.
sandwiches, right? Like, and I'm like, I was just like, I don't even like, can I just have what I want? I don't know. It was weird. And then people are like fat phobic. So they're like, dang, I wish I got diabetes and could lose weight. And I was like, it's not the flex you think it is. I associate my weight loss with, or like even my being thinner with my sickness. Um, Cause yeah, I'm compact, so like I always was like I'm gonna be stocky, which I was like I could do this something with this, you know.
Right.
And then I just felt like it changed a lot of like how I I guess I thought I would be as I got older, or like, and also like I felt I had to hide it a lot as a young person, just because a lot of people I when I started it was insulin only injections, the regular needles. I felt like I had to hide it because my father is a recovering addict, and I just felt like people would think I was an addict. And I got stares a lot um, in different places, but like I just felt like I had to keep it as much to myself or figure it out as much to myself as I could. I didn't want to like put more on anyone else. Um, Even though I got sick a lot, but I really tried to handle it as much on my own as I could.
Yeah,
Um,
Simone, you did everything you could starting from that young age to keep you alive and well. Even though you truly didn't, like you said, you didn't know what that really meant.
right,
Keeping yourself alive and well, because at 10 years young, I mean, first off, family, this is no knock against you. This was a new diagnosis for everyone, not just Simone. But at
right,
10 years young, and I've witnessed this, and it hurts my soul to the deepest. I've seen young people have to take on this responsibility and not knowing, because there's no way a 10, 11, 12-year old can know the sciences of their body,
right,
and having to take on this. And also you mentioned like they tried to scare you straight. Like they really tried to do that, like with those scare tactics. Like we know, we grew up in that era. And I just jotted down something because you said you were diagnosed 32 years ago at 10 years
right.
young, right?
Mm,
So you're 83, baby?
yeah.
83, baby.
Hey, nice,
Yeah, I'm an 83 baby also, so that's us. So
nice. Yeah.
I'm thinking like when I was in fifth grade, whew, I remember fifth grade like it was yesterday. I remember my teacher, Miss Wordy. I remember all my friends. And if I were to be given this diagnosis at that young age, the trajectory of where I would be today,
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know. So, first off, I'm gifting you flowers.
So,
I'm
but
gifting
you
you,
were 20.
huh?
You were
Yeah.
20. That's still young, though.
And I'm going to gift you these flowers
I appreciate it.
because you deserve this. Because people do not know what it takes to manage diabetes. People do not know what it takes to manage diabetes as a person of color. People do not
Right.
know what it means to manage diabetes as someone from other marginalized communities. People do
Right.
not know what it takes to manage diabetes just as a human being because it's not normal. No matter how much they try to tell us and put in us, it's not normal having to give yourself insulin shots, having to watch your blood sugar. That added time, sense of time and responsibility at such a young age, there should have been someone there, and I'm sure your family was there as much as they could be, but there should have been the medical team as much as they could. Like I said, there should have been a medical team that looked over you, that watched you, that cared for you, and said, "This is too much for Simone." And this was before you even transitioned into adolescence, into middle school.
Yeah,
Like,
that was rough. Middle school was
like
rough.
middle school is horrible.
Right.
How were those steps and stages like for you? Oh, first, do you even remember like going back to school after being diagnosed?
Yeah. I was in fifth grade, so like I was in the hospital for a bit. That teacher, Mrs. Tomato, was really nice. She would like let me have snacks. She like if I wasn't feeling well, she would let me stay in class. Middle school. I mean, I also went to like a middle school that was not in my neighborhood. Like I said, I grew up in Staten Island. I didn't have a black teacher until high school. My middle school was primarily like white. Um, like some of the kids from my like elementary school were there, but I felt like they kind of split us up. Um, because they were like try to
Hmm.
diversify their population, but also like so it was like a lot of white kids. It was also a lot of kids with more money than I had. So I definitely was an outcast. I just kind of, luckily my cousins were there until I had cousins in the school. So like when I could, I kind of like clung to them when I could. Um, and like there was like this security guard who knew my grandmother, who was really nice. This older like black lady who was really sweet to me. I sadly don't remember her name, but like she was really sweet to me and like really tender to me because my grandma died when like shortly after I was in the sixth grade. Um, so it was nice to
Sorry for
have
that.
that lady. Yeah,
There was
it was just
so
hard because like
much.
I was
It
like,
hit
oh,
you.
I
Yeah,
was like
things were hitting
excited to
you
have someone.
hard.
Yeah, I was like, I was like, oh well, at least like I know my grandma has diabetes. Like, let me, what I mean. I was
Uh-huh.
already always like connected to my family because I was very introverted. So like the folks who I spent most time with, I was like really connected with. I love my grandma, and she was really sweet to me, and I know she had a hard time with it. I didn't really understand why, but like she also was born in the 20s in the South and then came up to Harlem when she was really young, and then they moved to Staten Island at some point. So like her going to like doctor's visits and like certain family members being upset with her for like doing things or not doing certain things or eating certain things. I remember that. Um, but yeah, I mean now I'm like thinking about it. My grandparents both died pretty young. They were in their 60s. Um, she had diabetes for maybe like 25 years before she died. She got it in her adulthood, um, or at least was diagnosed. Who knows? Because time and like how
Yeah.
things are like considered or like
More
what,
than likely, hearing what you're saying, more than likely, your grandma was probably a type one.
right.
Yeah.
I wonder like if they like, and that's the
You
thing
can
too. I think about that all the
you
time.
can
Like,
check on that.
right,
Uh,
like I don't know how because even
so
me, they only said they just
diabetes.
yeah. I know now that there's like tests to know what type you
Mhm.
have. I didn't like they basically were like, oh, your blood sugar is like unreadable on this glucose monitor. You're a diabetic.
Okay.
Um,
So
I
quick.
didn't know there were tests you could get to know the type.
Yeah. So if you want to know your grandma's diagnosis, I mean, it's not going to say the exact diagnosis of like if it was type one or type two with
Right,
your grandma because of how long ago that was.
right.
But you can contact the hospital
Uh,
or the tending to hospital because although they get rid of medical records typically 7 to 10 years, they do keep two things: intake and discharge.
uh,
If even if that hospital like gets dismantled, crumbles, they get rid of it.
right.
Those records are forwarded to somewhere to another facility.
Hmm.
So you can get those records. I didn't get mine until right before the pandemic. So yeah, 2020, like February 2020, I went and got mine from the hospital where I was diagnosed, and because I had never read through like all of the forms, and I'm like, oh, yep,
Right.
confirmation. But
Uh,
my great grandmom, she died in 1954.
hmm.
And in 2023, like going through ancestry.com, me and my younger brother, like I saw her death certificate, it said death due to acidosis. And then it
Hmm.
had like all these different symptoms and stuff, like how she was fragile, lost all this weight like instantly. And I said, wow, my great grandma died from type 1 diabetes as well. But she lived in a rural area, was never formally diagnosed. So they found her comatose.
Hmm.
Well, I think January 19th, 1954, and she passed February 2nd, 1954.
Wow.
Yeah, that.
Interesting. I never even like knew that you could do that.
Yeah. So, and I'm
Yeah,
going to send
I
you.
have all these questions because family don't talk about
I know
the
health.
hard stuff or any like. I feel like they didn't talk about anything to be honest.
Look,
Just jokes.
I know that family. I know that family. Sometimes you gotta call a meeting. They know about your health today. Call a meeting and be like those who show up and are present are the ones who care and want to know. Call that
Right,
meeting and be like, I need to know this stuff right now. You're gonna find out a lot more, even if it's just two or three things. That's more than what you knew previously.
right. True.
Align those Avengers.
It's very like crumbs. You get the crumbs, you gotta like gather them, but then you're like trying to make a meal, and you're like, how long do I have to like, and how much energy do I have to put in to get these crumbs so that I can actually like get the sustenance I'm trying to get from it. Also,
Mhm.
like I had a cousin who had gestational. Also, like when I was a kid, like there was no internet, so it was like trying to find books or like I mean, it was mainly like encyclopedias that mention like diabetes and a lot of interestingly like a lot of the encyclopedias are like things I could find on diabetes mentioned that black folks and people of color were like primarily who had it, but a lot of the like children's books about it all had white characters. So I was always
Mhm.
confused um about that too. Like I was like I felt I don't think I mean I met kids in my adolescence, but like I remember my mom took me to we went to like this thing for like kids who had pumps. They were all white. No one talked to me. We were the only black people there. No one even like looked at us. It was so weird. I was like, yeah, nah. But like back then, also like for any of the like pump things like that, you had to have quote unquote the good control. And now I'm like, if I would have had the pump, that would have helped me have better control or like navigate this a whole lot easier than I did like trying to do with the needles for all those years.
Mhm.
Um,
That's not
but
on you. That's still on the medical team. Still,
yeah, I'm
they
like,
should have brought those resources to you instead of y'all having to go and seek them.
yeah, I didn't get a pump until like 2009 because I was having so many lows, and I have like hypoglycemic unawareness where I don't get the symptoms
Got it.
or the proper symptoms or like the proper like reaction to the symptoms. Is
Mhm.
very much like, okay, I feel off, and then I do this like weird, beautiful mind thing where I'm like trying to everything. I'm like thinking of all the ways why I feel off, but none of them are like you need to eat something.
I get the same exact thing.
Yeah, but most people are like, oh yeah, why do you get hungry? And I also was a baker, so they a lot of times they'll come into my job,
Mhm.
passed out. They're like, how do you go low in a bakery? And I'm like, because I'm not just sitting here eating things,
Right.
I'm
It's a
working.
whole mind over matter type of thing
Right,
where you're like, you're consistently doing things.
right,
There's like no pause to it.
right.
And before like the modern technology and everything, it was like we just went. We just like it was nonstop until we only thought about our blood sugar really when we ate.
Yeah, if even then, sometimes I didn't.
Yeah, sometimes didn't. Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't even learn like that. Like everything else, like I mean, I knew that different, like being sick affected, but like not being stressed, being tired, not sleeping enough, uh, all the other things, like everything affects your blood sugars. Like you can literally do the same thing every day
everything.
and get
This
different
conversation
reactions.
does.
Right, right. And
Yeah.
I like didn't learn that until my 20s, and that was only because I was like, they were like, oh yeah, yeah, that's happens, and I'm like, why wasn't any of this like mentioned? Like, because I've definitely haven't had insomnia my whole life. I barely slept. I would like drink a whole soda, not take insulin, and still go low, pass out, seizures on my way home on the train. After I got home, get lost, school, like everywhere. I don't think there's any place that I've been, especially like after, because the first maybe 12 years, at least it was like DK every year. And then I started to like take my insulin more consistently. And then it was like all these weird lows. And then I'd be like, where am I? Where am I supposed to be? Like confusion. What's going on? I think, and then I also feel like not dealing with it alone was hard. Like dealing with it alone was hard, but also like dealing with it with others was hard because people are traumatized and then people want to give you like ultimatums as if it was like based on decisions I made that this was
Right.
happening and not like, my condition. Um and then like explaining to people or like forewarning people like when to let people know. Um
Yeah, inviting them into your diagnosis.
Right. And even like knowing, understanding how to explain it, because then people are like, just why don't you just eat?
It's
Right.
not that simple.
And then also like my lows, I get like nauseous and I get tired. So I'm like, that's like the last thing I want to do is eat when I need to do it the most, which
Mhm.
is hard to explain to people because they're like, all you gotta do is eat. If you need to eat, then you gotta eat, right? And I'm like trying to explain to people that don't get it these
Right.
things, right?
And there's a whole nother side of diabetes and food when like when we have like sometimes we have to force ourselves to eat. That's not healthy
Right,
mentally or physically. And
right,
people don't understand that because I don't know too many people who have lived with diabetes for as long as we have that hasn't had some form of eating disorder. Like
right,
it comes hand in hand.
right.
Yeah, but again, you've been keeping yourself alive throughout this time. So big ups to you, Simone, because you I know that you live with some complications, and if you can go back and talk to little Simone, you probably would. change some things, but at the same time, that would change who you are as a person.
Right.
You know, we were just talking about that. Sit down with the family. You were diagnosed with renal disease. You said in 2021, started dialysis 2023.
No, I started dialysis and I had CKD maybe because they were like doing the rovastatin and like all
Hmm.
those things. 'Cause they're like, oh, your levels are looking a little off. I didn't really know what that meant, but I took them, and then it went from like CK3 to CK5 really quickly. I had like a low in September of 2021. They were like, "Oh, it's at CK5 now," even though like a few months earlier it was CK3. And I was like, "Is this?" I didn't really understand like how the progression goes or what that meant.
Hmm.
They were like, "You're gonna need dialysis," but they didn't really start the preparation for it. And then November of 2021, I thought I had COVID because I was like swollen. I mean, I didn't really know. I didn't really know what else it could be. I didn't know what kidney failure looked like because they didn't explain that to me. They didn't say, "Oh, this is what it will look like. This is what you'll need to do." They just said, "Eventually, you're gonna need dialysis." Um, so I went in. Uh, so yeah, it was like kidney failure around the holiday time, which was very weird. Um, and started dialysis then. That's like a weird. It's a very weird. I don't know. There's something like odd about like seeing and feeling your blood like leave your body through this machine. Um, and like they're throwing a lot of information at you. Also, like the brain fog. Uh, I also have had a TBI, so like it's hard to like navigate like what's what,
Hmm.
like what's or like just like especially when you have multiple things going on for over time. You wonder how the seizures have affected you, all the lows, all the highs. I also have like retinopathy.
I
Um,
just wrote, that's crazy. As soon as you said, I had just wrote retinopathy, and you
yeah,
said it at the same time.
yeah. I had
No.
so I'm sorry, we're talking about dialysis, but like, yeah. So I was doing dialysis in center. It's 3 days a week. I would have like my blood sugar would go low, my blood pressure would go low. It's a little harsh, the machines in center. As someone at some point was like, you should try at home dialysis. It's more days a week, but the machine is less harsh. You at least don't have to worry about transportation or getting home or like doing too much after you're already here. But it's a lot to do. But I think I feel like I mean the one good thing is I was able to like get automatic disability, which is not it's not what I imagined it would be.
Uh,
Still, he still struggled to like survive. Still have to like struggle to figure out money, but like um yeah, this as time has come on because I've always worked multiple jobs. That was always a priority, like trying to make money to pay for rent or all those things, right? First, and then you worry about your health. But like every job I had lows at. But then working with kids and passing out from them, or working with like adults with different cognitive disabilities and passing out in front of them, it was just like I don't know. I feel like it was hard to like take in for myself how it was traumatic because I was so worried about traumatizing other people and burdening others. Um,
More recently, have you been able to, well, I can sense from the conversation you're gifting right now that you've been able to sit down and reflect on that. And now you know, like, I should have been Thinking about me first, right?
Mm, to a degree.
To a degree.
Not even that I should have. I think I learned how to, and then there's always that like you gotta love yourself first thing.
Mhm.
But I learned how to like. I was like a people pleaser, but also like a space maker for others. Um, One because I wanted people to make space for me, right? But also because I knew like I was always surrounded by people that needed space made for them, right? It was just easier for me to make space for others and hoped that like there would be a symbiotic relationship where someone would in turn make space for me because they saw how I was making space for them. Didn't always happen or didn't always happen the way I needed, but also sometimes it did. And also like moments that it did happen, right? Um, but yeah, I think I mean, I feel like I spent most of my 20s like reminding myself to breathe. Right? You do the like your body does the automatic things, and I would ask folks one as a reminder to myself, but also like as just like a questioning, like because you see folks that are like, yes, they're technically breathing, they're alive, right? But like,
Are they living?
right, there's something like blue, like there's like, or like they're in anxiety at the moment, or they're freaking out about something, so they're like distracted, or like sometimes you gotta like completely stop to like really move, right? Things like that. Um, so like as a reminder, would be like my the first reaction was always like annoyance because they're like, clearly I'm breathing, and I'm like, but are you really, right? Because sometimes I would be like saying the same thing. I'd be like technically yes, my heart is beating, I'm breathing, but like not feeling a little like zombie like, right? Like you're just surviving. Um, but it feels different if you like take the moment to like sit and breathe, especially like for someone who has panic attacks. You know what I mean? Like that you're technically there, but like are you really? Then once you get the moment or like can calm down or like get like less stimulated in the moment, that like changes things or
Yeah,
changes
those
like how you feel in the space, right?
it brings about a lot of out of body experiences
For
more
sure.
so than the average person.
Right. And then like trying and then it's just odd because like even and I've met diabetics over the years who didn't have experience like I did. So like even like convincing them that my experience was just as valid as theirs, or like
Convincing people that I'm hypo unaware and have been for the last 10 plus years, 15 plus years, like convincing other diabetics that they're like I always get that side eye, like how? Like you mean
right,
to tell me you don't feel the sweat, you don't feel the tingling? I said usually I'm on the ground or I'm
right,
shaking and seizing. Like it's always too
right,
late. Like
right,
where somewhere I try to do what I can, but typically someone's going to have to come to my rescue. Like
right,
they need to know those signs.
right,
Yeah, when we talk about diabetes and seeing the signs, there's
right,
signs post-diagnosis that need to be seen as well.
for sure,
Like you mentioned, living with chronic kidney disease. Those signs need to be seen and noticed as
right,
well because we know like the earlier you catch it, the better outcomes.
right.
I recorded with a young lady, Dominique, last spring. Well, not like spring 2024, correct me. And she found out, I think in February of 2021 or 2022 that she had chronic kidney disease. And her and her family were on it like that. Within 3 months, she got a transplant.
Oh wow! Before she had to do dialysis,
She never started dialysis.
I didn't know that was even possible.
I didn't either. I'll share that episode link to you. But yeah, and she's been
I'm going through all the episodes now.
yeah,
I'm still in season one.
Yeah, she's been living an amazing life since then, never having to go through dialysis. I said that was a miracle.
Wow. Yeah.
Uh, there's also a young lady, I believe her name's Chantel, out of the Georgia area. She was diagnosed with chronic kidney disease, but her husband actually gave his kidney to
Uh,
someone else so she could
oh.
receive a kidney.
Oh, right, right. You can do that for that.
Yep, so got that done immediately. Like she was going through dialysis. I think she started right after giving birth to her son. I think like
Mm,
4 or 5 years ago. And as soon as she had him, they were like, "You need to start dialysis like right away."
right,
So she was going through dialysis for a few years. Her husband didn't match her, but he
right,
matched someone else.
right.
So they were able to go to the front of the line.
Yeah, the hospital I'm with, they want me to have both the pancreas
Okay.
and the kidneys.
Hmm.
And I've heard like varying things. The sad thing is that I haven't heard anything from someone who's actually had both transplants. Just like medical staff being
Um,
like
I
I
gotta
don't
send
know.
you a link.
Yeah, they like
What's
want. I feel like they push certain things as if that's the only option. And I'm like, I just want to know what I'm in for. Like, wait, what does this mean for my life if I do it, or like if it fails, or what it doesn't do
Yeah.
well? Like, I've heard the pancreas doesn't do well, but I've heard like varying things from different people. Like,
Right. So I recorded with a young man from California area. I want to say his name is Juan. Last fall,
mm,
he received a dual pancreas kidney transplant.
mm,
Yeah, he's doing amazing now. Considering like he's had a lot of similar health journeys as yourself. He also suffered a stroke
mm,
in his 20s.
wow,
Yeah, and yeah, he's had that simultaneous transplant, and he's doing amazing now. He loves it. He said he wouldn't trade it for anything, and it gives him, like I speak to him often, and it gives him a more thorough look on life and the outcomes. He's like every day is a blessing now. I truly know that. I didn't know that when I was 9, 10 years old, diagnosed like yourself.
right,
He was like he looks at every day like it's amazing just to be able to see life, see people, children running around playing, and he's like he wouldn't trade his experience of his simultaneous transplant for anything. I have a
right,
cousin who was diagnosed at 12 years young, and she's going through testing right now so to see if she can get a simultaneous transplant. She went to her transplant. She saw her transplant team on the 4th of June, and they told her that they recommend for her to stay out of the hospital for 6 months. Yeah, considering you got
as if
multiple chronic health
as
conditions.
if it was a choice.
Right, right. Considering you have multiple, that's what I told her. 6 months, and then they'll reevaluate her. But I
Interesting,
told her, I said, nah, I said, force their hands. Do what you can.
right? Yeah. Uh, yeah, I still don't understand a lot of the because I know there's this dude um who talks about like different misconceptions in the medical field about like race stuff, about
Hmm.
how like they say black folks like have better lung capacity so that we get misdiagnosed or like all these other things. Also, there's like this thing the with dialysis where they have like different levels for folks who are black so that we got less transplants or it took longer for us to get transplants.
Hmm.
In general, I think that they're changing it now, but I don't really understand like what it was to be honest. But it's just like a lot to navigate because
Right. And you're the one who's going through everything. Like you need someone next to you who can look into all this research and take all the notes because it's too much for you because you're going through the treatments. You don't have all this added. this additional time like that most people have. It's again, it's too much.
It's like multiple jobs for everything, just to like one understand it, two advocate for yourself, and then like it's like it goes like past. You gotta like fight too. Some of the doctors, some of the medical professionals, because they think that their knowledge or their education trumps your experience
Yeah,
as well as your education or your like understanding of things or yourself. Because I hear a lot like, "Oh, I've never seen that," or "Oh, that's different," or your like reactions to things are different than the patients I've seen, or I've even had doctors be like, "That doesn't happen," and I'm like, "It literally happens to me." In like the introduction, I'm like, "Sir, I'm telling you, this is my experience. You can't tell me that this is not happening. It happened. I'm telling you."
right. We know no
Like,
two people living with a chronic health condition manage equal. Like there's
right,
no way. We're all different. We're all individuals, and that's how we should all be seen.
right. We're not machines. The books are like a guide, kind of, but like we all have different experiences. Even like my own experiences have varied. You know what I mean? Um, it's just I think a lot of the labor to like explain it to folks and to make sure that they understand what you're saying is like, and like also like uh thwart off the projections or what people assume, the diabetes jokes, um the like sugar thing. I'm like, I don't know. As a kid, my only reference of like diabetes was Steel Magnolias. Have you seen that
Same.
with Julia Roberts?
Yes, yes.
And I was like, and then I remember having like an episode like that, but like also, yeah, the whole like, cause yeah, you could pass out, you could have a
What's
seizure,
her
but you could
name?
also be like,
Shelby? Is that what her name on her? Shelby?
yes, they did one with
Queen
Queen
Latifah and
Latifah.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw that like a couple years ago, but I was like, dang, I wish I saw this when I was younger, cause then they actually showed like her with dialysis, which I was like,
Hmm.
interesting, but like, yeah, the references. I feel like there needs to be like more references or like of the like complexity of it. I feel like people don't really get it still, which I think as a young person, I didn't envision that like I would still have to be explaining like the basics. You know what I mean? As
Right.
like
And
now still.
you're too young to again having to explain those things because while you were explaining them to other people, you were still learning them.
Right. I was trying to understand them as I was explaining to other
Right.
people too.
How was going through school with diabetes?
Uh Isolating in a way. I feel like I tried to like keep it a secret. Not to keep it a secret, but like keep it as much to myself as I could. I slept a lot in school, in high school, also in junior high school. But like as long as a black kid wasn't causing too much trouble, they didn't really care too much. Um, but I feel like, and certain people like it got me like I use it for a lot of class projects.
Mhm.
So like
It was an easy A.
yeah, I mean, certain like not like I just remember doing a lot of like I remember doing a few like things, but like it was also like a way for me to learn some stuff. Because again, back then you had to like go to the library to like get any information, and so if the book didn't exist, you didn't get any of the information. Um, and the books then were like encyclopedias and maybe like a few kids' books, maybe a couple of pamphlets at certain doctors' offices. Um, like I didn't learn that it was autoimmune until recent. And I remember this educator getting upset with me, and I'm like, "Why are you upset with me?" Like,
It's
she's
not
like, "You
my
gotta keep
fault.
looking for it, right?" And I'm like, "You don't even know how much like it takes to navigate just the basics. Like, or like assuming that I didn't do something because I didn't find something, right? Like I'm like the doctors would still make that joke, like, "Oh yeah, you must have eaten a lot of sugar." And I remember like not thinking I ate more sugar than my cousins or
Right
siblings,
there in your peers.
right? And I'm like, I mean, not to say I didn't. It just felt like a lotto thing, right? Like, or and knowing that also is a hereditary thing, but like I just remember I'm like the doctors would make that comment too, so it made me think perhaps that was part of it. That was like the running joke, you know, like the diabetes joke where you eat too much sugar perpetually. And I was just like, I don't know. I just remember like I'm just like why, like medical professionals be upset that you
Right. It
don't
was
know
like,
something or they think that you don't care enough in their aspect and or like the way that they think they would, even though they haven't been in that situation or had to navigate. You know what I mean? And I'm
every
just,
everyone was making you uncomfortable.
yeah, or like I was doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Like I'm just
You
like,
did nothing wrong.
I mean, I remember like I would be like, but it's just like confusing because it's like, why is everyone like, why are you mad at me? Like, you know what
Right.
I
And
mean? Like,
then after they done told you all the information, and then if you have to relay it to a family member or a loved one or something, they're looking like like they say things like just listen to your doctor, do what they
right,
said. Like,
right. While also not
bro,
doing what their doctors say.
right. Like you're
Also,
allowed to have that sandwich. Why can't I have that sandwich? Come on
right,
now.
right,
Where you can't, people, they can't look and tell people to be a certain way and shape them in a certain image and form if they themselves have never fit, like truly filled out or fit in that peg, that hole. Like you cannot shape or mold someone to fit in that hole. Like
right,
that you can't because we're all different. No two people living, walking this earth. I don't care if you're Siamese twins,
right,
like identical twins. You're not the same. You may say share similar, near identical genetic markers, but you're not
right,
the same. Like we learn different. Everyone does.
right.
Everyone does. So I understand why or how you went about your years of school
Yeah,
because when you look at typical adolescents, teens, like they were doing all of these other things and you saw, I know I saw like, huh, they had no worries. Like they're cool. We all cool. We go outside, we play, we go to art club, we go to the gym, we do different things, we ride our bikes all throughout the city.
right,
Like I'm a kid. I'm going to do those things.
right,
But you had this sense of responsibility where you had to it was almost like you were carrying an infant along with you throughout
right,
this entire journey, and you didn't ask for that baby.
right,
You did not ask for that baby, not today, not tomorrow. Like,
right,
but you still have to wake up and take care of this baby. You gotta get it dressed, you gotta feed it, you gotta nurture it, put it to sleep, even though it wakes up in the middle of the night. This baby is diabetes, just to let you know. She
right,
wakes you up in the middle of the night screaming, all types of things. Like she makes you forget things. Like, oh, I forgot to do this. Got to take care of my diabetes baby. If not, then I won't be well mentally or physically. Like
right,
you were given this, and today again, when I see you, I know about your strength. I know about the power in you because not only do you live with type 1 diabetes, retinopathy, chronic kidney disease, but you're first, you're a black person in this world, in this society. First again, because I never put one ahead of the other when we talk about the makings of a person. You're a queer trans person in this world, navigating through it. You are an amazing being. There are young people, adults, children alike that need to see, hear, reflect off of your representation. because it truly does matter, Simone. Truly does. I don't know if you've been given or gifted those words, that strength, that power from other people. Like if people have recognized who you are, but the world recognizes because there are more people that care, that worry, that wonder, that are curious than those that are, how do we say it, like concrete in their beliefs, in their judgments. There are more people that care, like for real, and I care. I truly do care about you, and this is our first conversation we've ever had. And thank you for like just sharing your light and your life with everyone. But I did want to ask because when we first started, I wrote down something. It says hormones and hormones
Mm.
because we know type 1 diabetes, like how it affects our hormones. Um, I don't know how old you were when you began your transition, but I've never had a conversation with someone. Um, but I've always thought about this, like how does the imbalance in hormones with diabetes, does that did that affect your like your growth hormones as you were transitioning?
That's a good question. I mean, definitely, I started like medically transitioning around the time actually I got a pump, like taking testosterone. But it's like going through puberty twice.
Right.
So like, still like all the things are happening anyway
And that
with the
was, would you
diabetes.
say like 2009-ish?
9, yeah, I started taking tea, and that was actually around the time I got a pump, which was interesting. Um, so like, yeah, it was almost like a new puberty because my blood sugars were all over the place. But there were times where I didn't take tea because you had to like getting insulin was hard enough for
Mhm.
different reasons. Um, Even now, I haven't been on tea for a while, but like right now I'm on steroids because of pneumonia, which is its own thing. Um, so like, yeah, I just remember like it felt like a different puberty or like another puberty. Like things were changing, things were all over the place, blood sugars all over the place. Different doctors focus on different things, but like sadly, no one focuses on everything or like how all the things intermingle. Except you for you, because you're the only person that's like being affected by all the things at once or at literally simultaneously. But yeah, I just remember being like similarly like when I was like an adolescent too, like going or even starting puberty, like things were all over the place, trying to understand like what's what, you know what I mean? Like why this is happening, but also like physical things, but also mental things changing. And also again like considering like I guess this like ideal version of you, right? Like who you envision, like how I envision myself as this dude, um, or how I always did, right?
And you're an artist, so
Right. So
I,
yeah, my ex had me do a drawing of like how I would see myself, like if like once the T like kicked in or whatever, and it always was androgynous. But the thing, like I think the drawing, not I think the drawing had multiple arms, and I think the thing that was most important for me was like that there was this fluidity, this openness about like that made space for like my complexities, right? Like not fitting into like this or that, right? Like the fact that there are like, yes, there are binaries and molds that people have been taught to like consider as the what's the word, like the I guess I feel like there's like this math equation that we're given, right? Yeah, like are you on this side or are you that side? Some folks are in between, but also like the fact that it's not a line, right? some of our like forms and like the way we are is like different shapes, right? The body is the body, right? But also the mind, right? And all those things, we don't all fit in those things, and now we're not supposed to like basically like decolonizing ways of being, right? Or even like the 3 meals a day thing. That's like a colonial thing. Like most people eat when they're hungry, but we learn this way, and we think that that's the way it's supposed to
That's
be.
when I eat, when I'm
If it
hungry.
doesn't fit, then or like if it doesn't fit for us, then we're like going against what we should. So people get mad because you're like, you're not what I think you should be, or you're not doing it the way I am forcing myself to do it. Um, or you're not fitting into the mold. So I don't like, you know what I mean? Like, let's say you got a coloring book and you color outside the lines because that's your way. People are mad because you didn't color inside the lines. But each image or all the images are just as valuable. And if we like consider the fact that like we're just, you know what I mean? Like if we were just allowed to be without like considering like individuality or like fitting in the molds that we are aware exist or the ones that are most popular, then like I think it would do a lot for like our mind, bodies, and souls as like, you know what I mean, uh populace or whatever. It's like different beings. If we could just make space for ourselves instead of like shoving ourselves in the molds that like we're shown, right? Or
Yes.
like the ones that are pushed as much. Um Sorry, I feel like I
Nah, you're good. You're
went
you're
off.
you're you're golden, serious. And I jotted it down where you said just where is it? You said just be.
Right,
Just allow to be. Like there's no end to that. There's just dot 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 continue. Just allow it to be. Just
right,
let people be because it truly doesn't affect others. Why, like, I question that all the time, why people always come at other people without sharing the resources or information that's going to help. They just
right,
come at people.
right,
Like, it's a closed mindset. Like, and I don't know how we can get others to, other than, as children grow up, from day one.
mm,
We have to show and share it with them because everything, you know, those are all learning experiences where you learn to love or you learn to hate. You learn that off of the feelings and emotions that are shared with you early on and through your process of growth and development.
right,
It's part of the stages of life.
right,
If a child from day one is shared like images of hate, hear arguments, hear people depict certain groups of people as in certain ways, then
right,
that's what they're going to grow with. That's what they're going to learn with. That's what they've adjusted to. That's what they know.
right, right,
From day one, kids should just be given the opportunity to be.
right.
And I have to share with you here because I don't think I've ever shared this in on this platform. I have a nephew who began transitioning at the age of, whoosh, how old is Joe now? Joe is 19 now. So Joe began transitioning, I think, at 15. It was during the pandemic.
Mm,
And Joe is Joe.
right,
Like, if you love someone, if you care for someone, that's it. You love and you care for them.
right,
If a child gets hurt, what are you going to do? You're going to go to them and help them heal.
right.
If a child is hurt mentally or physically, you should be able to help them heal.
Right.
That's as simple as it is. So yeah, I truly love your perspective on this. It touches my heart. I almost came to tears just because of that connection. Um, and just knowing like everything you've been through, you've endured as a person. Has had you always known? Um, Look, you giving me that head nod already. Like, had you always known that you would begin transitioning? That's the good difference.
I always, well, I mean, as a kid, I
Because
thought,
everyone doesn't go through that process.
true. I mean, but also, like, I mean, uh, I always felt different. I thought I was a little boy like in preschool. I also knew that, like, I mean, I thought genetics worked like that. You had to, like, you gain different things for your parents. So, like, mm, I didn't necessarily want to be exactly like my dad. I knew that, like, I I don't know if I want to talk about my dad, but like, I, but also like there were things about my dad that resonated with me, but there were also things about my mom that resonated with me, like how she communicated, or she was
Mhm.
quiet, a lot more introverted. Um, my dad was very popular, very social person, also a little anger, and let's say anger problems, but there were other issues. So I always like, I remember like, especially like as a little person, like I remember playing in both of their clothes. Um, I really didn't understand the gender stuff until school. And then they put me on a line and I was like, I feel like I'm in the wrong line. I always felt like a soft boy, like a very effeminate boy, I guess. And then I was like, maybe I'm too effeminate. So then I kind of like butched up according to like, not like in the traditional way, not like sporty wise, but just like, I guess like visually butched up. So I was called a tomboy growing up. Um, and then like as I kept getting older, like I tried to like, do the girly stuff for, I guess, more in adolescence, high school, I guess I would say, just because it was more socially acceptable. But then I was like, yeah, no, I'm definitely an oddball. I definitely don't feel like one or the other, to be honest. I'd never felt, and even still, like, I remember like doing this thing for this college assignment that I was talking about. I did it about gender, and I was like, I don't really feel like one or the other, even though like in the high school, like a lot of the boys were like, you want to be a boy, and I was like, I kind of don't, but and still like even now, it's like again, it's complicated. I'm trans, yes, but like I also feel like just if my being was like on the scale of things, it's not like this line cross. I'm not in between those two things. I'm like it's like this cyclical thing, right?
I
But
think
yeah,
I
I
think I
always
may
I
have
just
sorry. I think I may have a better understanding of this than maybe the general public because of my nephew's
right,
transition. Because like I know that Joe, even though Joe presents as a young man,
right,
eh, Joe is a young man. Joe, relationship wise and attractions, Joe can be attracted to anyone.
same, yeah. Gender and sexuality are
Yeah,
different,
different.
but yeah, but like, and that's the thing too. Like, I was like, and there was this biphobia, so I came out having to come out multiple times is its own headache. Came out as like bi to my mom during this Three Companies episode where Jack is pretending to be gay, which was kind of funny when you think about it now. But like at the time, I was like, "This is messed up," It didn't go well, but
Mm.
And then like there's like this like, oh, there's this talk of like, I definitely identify as queer or like pan or whatever, but like that, I was just like, okay, I guess I'm a lesbian. Uh, I guess, but knowing that I was definitely still attracted to like different gender folks, especially like other trans folks or other like gender non-conforming folks, even whether they knew it or not that they were, right? Like everyone has an understanding of what they're
And people
supposed to
like
be,
their people, like really.
right? Or even just like I really am interested in folks, friends, and like whatever, just like folks who don't fit in the molds, who are like the oddballs or like the outcasts. There's just this energy that like feels familiar to me, that like you're not trying to shove yourself into this very small space that you don't fit in, or this like shape of something that is like really contorting you in a way that is not good for you or your soul. um like you said, like an openness, like if you can make space for like the complexities of yourself, then you can make space for my complexities as well, and then we can have, you know what I mean? But there's like this, not to say I haven't had shared community or did like activism work with folks who didn't quite get me, you know what I mean? But I feel like it's different when the openness is there. There's less of this resistance or like this explaining or like fighting the projections or the like, you know what I mean, the assumptions, or like dissuading what people envision you as, or like the math problems that they create, or the like solutions that they create based on the numbers that they're aware of, right? Like
Yeah.
there's that.
While you were beginning your transition process with tea, did one thing take precedence over the other? Like your diabetes versus the tea, like because I know you mentioned like financially,
Yeah,
but like mentally and emotionally is another thing also. Like, did you have to ration one versus the other?
at times. I mean, originally I was like, I'm not sure if I wanted to take tea, because I was like, I just, I think I wanted to visually be more androgynous. I didn't necessarily like, I had friends who were trans who were passing, or like were perceived as men, or wanted to be perceived as men, or were men, or are men, right? And I was like, I'm not necessarily that. And also like trying to explain it to my family,
Hmm.
or like knowing that eventually I would have to come out to them again, right? Or explain this to them. Would they get it? Would they disown me, right? Um, and and also, yeah, like different insurances. I've I had to like work a lot of jobs, but also like not you can't make too much money if you want to be on Medicaid. All the jobs that offered insurance had deductibles, so like there were definitely times where I had to focus on just getting insulin. That was hard enough. So that, yeah, there were definitely like times off and on where I didn't have the tea. Um, like again, I've been having trouble getting it the last year or so. Um, but I think mentally for a long time, especially in the beginning, the tea was important for me. Um, or like even just like acknowledging that I was a trans person, or like that I was making this decision to medically transition, was important for me. Just like to like become, or like to visually see myself more as like I envision myself. Um, was important. Like I think more mentally important for me, but like physically, like the diabetes situation was like, okay, but I need to stop having seizures or like I need to eat better. So like, and also I think I maybe one thing I remember like my appetite changed
Mhm.
um with tea. I had it was a little bit more consistent, but not always. I was more like the type that I want to get home, relax to eat. So
So
like
it
while I was at
was.
work, I wasn't really like
Mhm.
taking breaks. That was like a thing people forced me to do. But like so that was like a thing. It was just like a lot. It's hard to like navigate all things because
It
like
was another variable.
right there's like I feel like diabetics know like there's a million things to navigate just like just for the diabetes. Then if
Right.
you have complications, then you gotta add all those other things to navigate. Now with like being trans, and that's another thing because it's a hormone that's affecting your blood sugar. Because I was having more highs, so then they gave me less tea, so I wasn't taking like the general amount that most trans guys take, which was like 1 cc or something. I was taking like 3/4 of it because a doctor noticed that I was bringing my blood sugar higher, which I was like
And
interesting because I couldn't find any like research on that, but they were saying that tea brings your blood sugar higher, or at least mine.
right.
So I was taking a little bit less.
Very,
Um,
it's very similar to, like you said, like steroids. Keep your
right,
blood
yeah,
sugars high. Testosterone in general raises the blood sugars, elevates them.
yeah,
We see that in pregnancies and things of that nature. I I never thought of this until you were just talking about it, like the different levels of testosterone. Um, you were you able to tell your medical team like, okay, I want to transition. I am transitioning, have always been transitioning,
right.
but I don't want to be this how do I what's the wording I'm looking for? Like you don't want to be this type of man. Like that type of man that's
The
how
macho,
the
right?
yeah.
Or
You don't want to
the like,
that domineering
right? No, I didn't even talk about that with them because I was just trying to get on T. To be honest,
gotcha.
I didn't really, I didn't like. I had,
'Cause
like I said, I had friends who had been on T for different varying years, looked different, some more androgynous, some more mask, whether they wanted that or like were prepared for that or not, was varying things, or like dealing with how different people perceive them over time, right? I didn't really talk about that. I didn't really even envision it. I was just trying to get on them.
mhm.
It just seemed like this thing so far off that I didn't really envision like people perceiving me differently. It was more about like me feeling in my body or like looking at myself and feeling like, okay, that's me, you know? Um,
Yeah, I asked that because
yeah,
I know you like a while ago, like you said, you wanted to remain like you love the soft side of you. That's why I asked that.
I liked. I mean, I also felt like the other parent in my house, right?
Mhm.
My dad wasn't in the house for a long time,
Gotcha.
so it was like I felt like I took part in raising me and my siblings just as much, maybe as my mother did. Maybe she doesn't think so, but like I did, right?
You
I
know.
felt like the other parent, um, but like it still wasn't like it wasn't like I wasn't like I'm the dad, even though it felt like that at times, right? But also if like I just like, and that's the thing where it's like the complexities, like I have, or even like the yin and yang thing, or like but this again, this is like considering that there's a binary. It's like male, female, male, woman, man, masculine, feminine, right? That it's linear, but like what if it's what if the shape or the mass is different than that, right? And you're like just in this like like Earth, right? It's round or like spherical, whatever. This it's like like there's a core. It's like, you know what I mean? It's
I
yes,
got you.
like I like, or even like the things we consider masculine and feminine aren't necessarily that, right? Like if you're just like I cook, I like cooking, I
Same.
gotta eat, right? Like why is that this thing or not? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's we've been taught that, or like it has visually, especially through the colonizer's lens, that it's this thing, but like some of these things are just vital for us to survive. We gotta eat, so somebody gotta cook. What if like there's no, you know what I mean? Whoever's cooking or whoever's like gathering and hunting, right? Like some people gotta do all of it. Like my mom did all of it, gathering, hunting, cooking. So did I, over time. But like, you know what I mean? Like somebody, and like I feel like there's a lot of conversation about like, especially with like trans folks trying to explain it to like cis folks, or like people like, yeah, I've always done these things, or like I've always been this. And but like, what if you don't see those things as this or that, right? I always loved music. I always loved art. I always liked people that like broke the molds in whatever ways they did, whether they were aware that they were doing it or not. I always liked people watching or like observing others or how they do things, especially when they don't think that people are watching them, right? Being in New York, there's lots of people around all the time. Just being, some are presenting themselves in a way, right? Because they think they're being watched. But some, when they don't think they're being watched, are presenting things just as much, which is more authentic, or like are these all these versions of this person, right? The presentation, the mask that we wear, the like code switching that we do for different reasons, are they all you, right? Are you presenting yourself? Are you behaving in ways because you think you need to be perceived a certain way, or received a way, or like receive certain attention or whatever, right? Like what does this all mean? You never know. But like I would say that I was an adapter. I had to go to different people's houses. My different grandma, my different grandmas, my parents' house was different. Everyone likes their places different, right? Everyone likes a different environment. Um, so I kind of was like, I would change myself a little bit depending on whose house I was at, so that I wouldn't, one, get in trouble or cause too much trouble or be too much, you know what I mean, or get negative attention. Um, but like there was like these commonalities, like music was a commonality, or like observing like how different people did different things. I was always curious about like, I mean, I was always curious about people just because I felt like it would help me understand myself. But like, there's just like if we don't have to like, and also like the English language is its own like limitation, right? There are words, or there are things that you can't describe with word, or like I don't. There are things that I don't know how to describe, or the words, or yeah, like I don't know words for. You know what I mean? Like where you have a feeling, you're
I
like I don't know how
understand.
to
You
explain
don't have the
this,
words for it.
right? It's like that, like, or in this. That's how I feel about myself sometimes. Like, sure, if I had to like explain myself with the language that I'm aware of, or that I know that people know, or that is commonly used, I can try. But in my mind, I'm also aware that like I'm diluting myself a bit, or like that it's not. That's not like some things that just aren't words for.
There truly aren't. There's just is.
Right.
Like like you said, just be. Just
Right.
allow to be, because Everything doesn't need a definition. Everything doesn't have to be defined by some type of terminology.
Right,
Because for the most part, like we move off of emotion.
right.
Like our feelings are everything. There are so many things that are misunderstood about people living with chronic health conditions, people living with diabetes in general, socially, emotionally, and then being queer, trans, black. But I must also say, Simone, you're also loved. You are also loved.
Right.
And how have you been able to navigate all of these things over the years and still come out on top, meaning inspiring?
Uh, I don't think I consider myself inspiring. I may and maybe I feel like I do. I like resist or like push for little me. Um, More than maybe for big me, to be honest. I feel like I've taken time to like one look through learning for making space for others. I learned that I need to do it for myself. I feel like I spent a lot of time like turning myself off when I'm by myself, you know what I mean? Like to recuperate. But I think maybe in the last like 5 years, especially like with the pandemic and like more isolation, um, because I a lot of times I was doing community work, which was fueling for me for sure. Being part of community, being part of different like machines to like push through and fight and resist, um, and also like learning how to fight and advocate and resist for myself, um, through like learning all those things through community work was important for me. Um, but yeah, like for little me, like who didn't see someone like me around, um, for for folks who like, or for little me who needed to see a different version of a person, or all the different versions of people, or people not like forcing themselves to like do something that was unnatural, and also just like one not like yes, it's been hard, but also like that all these things have formed me and that they're just as important, and like my life as it has been may be perceived differently from whomever, and even myself different times. Like I'm like, dang, you know what I mean? Like when will there be a break, right? But also like if I didn't have to resist all these things or like be strong all the time or for all the different reasons, would I have been able to get through these things, right? Um, so yeah, just like as an example for little me, because I've done and become someone I don't know if I envisioned as a young person. I am an age I don't think I envisioned, to be honest. Um, like I'm here. I've done things that I was like I would never see myself doing, but I did them. Um, and other things, yeah. Like it's just interesting how like you know you have these visions of yourself if you're a visual person, but then like when it comes to fruition, like how do you handle it, right? Like you just like I said, I still say one day at a time. Like this is like my favorite line, one step at a time, because like if you are rushing to something, that's when you really trip. Or like when you skip steps, that's really when you trip. Like just like the pacing, I've always felt like I had to like rush to get to things. And of course, or not say of course, but like I feel like that's a lot of time, or like trying to do too much, being this productive member of society, or like you know what I mean, like what's important. Like I feel like the 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 sleep is just as important as the action. The rest time, the art blocks are just as important as the times where you're productive. You know, so like the rest, like this is one thing I learned from this community. Or we're breaking away from this big organization, but like we changed like the calendar year. So like we implemented where we had like active times, but we were also aware that like we needed time to like rest. Almost like Earth, right? Like all the seasons are important. Some people prefer
They're
spring.
equally important.
Right. Some people like really love spring and summer, but some people really love winter and fall. But they all have like their place that like things need to like die off to come back and keep growing, right? Or
Right,
like
it's all a part of the cycle
right, some things need to
and the
hibernate.
experience.
Right. Some things need to hibernate for months. Some things need to like, you know what I mean? Go like sleep off to become the butterfly or the moth. Like all the stages are important in the life stage. Some people like to focus on certain things, but they're all important, right? And we gotta go through
Yes.
all the stages, whether we know what they are or not. But like being open to that, I think is important.
Right. The stages, the seasons, there's meaning and reason behind it all because uh, you shared your full butterfly effect. Like you shared it throughout the entire journey of this conversation as well, because even though early on, like when I had mentioned to you about like being alive and living, like you gave this look like like I'm alive, but I'm not well, but this whole experience is your experience, and no one can take it from you because, again, there are little boys, little girls out there in the world that look like you,
Mhm.
that don't have that representation, especially when we consider what's going on in the society, in the world, right in front of our eyes today. Like, even when you think about 5, 6 years ago, when you were going through stages of like continuing T. When you look at it today, the access and the accessibility to it today is limited. Some places zero, like none at all. Like just to think like there were people who started this process 7 months ago
Right,
that aren't able to continue. They're like stuck somewhere.
right,
And it's just crazy. Like that hurts my heart, my soul, because they had all of these visions, these dreams, these goals. Like, and they had started it after years. That takes years of psychological therapy, learning the medical aspects to it, the sciences, nutrition, so many different things that they had to learn, and for it to just the door just slammed in front of their face with nothing, like other than like going towards the black market, trying to figure out and navigate these things,
if you can.
which we know can lead to so many other issues, concerns, complications, financial burdens, risks of health. Like people do that because there's no option. There's
Right.
no other option, no other resource. But just being able to hear and learn you, people will know and be able to again experience like I can, I know, I will, I'll try, I can't give up, gotta keep moving. Like because you shared that through the entirety of this conversation. And again, like you are amazing, you are incredible, you are mighty. just like your shirt shares with me.
Yeah, I was like,
Like
this would be the shortest way.
you are, what's some good advice that you've either received through your journey of life, living with diabetes, any of your other chronic health conditions, transition that you could give to community that will help someone who is newly diagnosed, maybe struggling with something, that could just help them? What's some advice you could share?
Um, I think like some of it is like stereotypical, but like definitely that you're not alone. Finding community has been really important, and it's still new for me. I feel like a lot of time I was new and it wasn't alone, but like felt alone, right? Um, uh, I'm definitely here to like talk to folks about my experience or like even be there for folks. There's a lot of like you have the multiple group texts. I just feel like like finding community is really important for like many different reasons. Um, I feel like feeling like doing it alone is. I mean, I think initially that was like my way of doing things. I think over the years, finding community has been really vital for me. Even like if we like talk daily or like monthly or like, you know what I mean, sporadically, just knowing that like I'm not the only person who understands whatever is important. So yeah, connecting with others is important. Giving yourself like space and time, not like forcing things. You know what I mean? Like dream big, but also like dream
Big.
outside of the lines. Um, and like things are more possible than maybe we've been taught to consider. I think. Um, so yeah, make space for yourself. Make space for all like every bit of yourself. The things you may or may not like. The diabetes is just as vital as your being is like your favorite things. You know what I mean? As hard as it's been, like I couldn't imagine my life without it because it's been most of my life. Um, and maybe as a young person, like I wish it would go away. And I'd say I wouldn't mind the cure, but like also like I think that the world needs to make space for like all the different ways that we are.
It does.
And so do we. And that like there's nothing wrong with like the fact that our lives aren't the average ways or the ways that like maybe our parents envisioned when we were born or whatever. But like that we're all like valuable in the ways that we show up and that they all matter, they're all important, and we are like, you know what I mean? Like
I get you
beautiful
100%.
creatures. And yeah, I want to thank you for like creating the space too. Like I would love to talk more offline in general anyway. I'm glad we like finally got to. But like, yeah, mainly like make space for yourself, one step at a time, breathe, rest. Those things are just important as like being active and like productive. Yeah.
Breathe, rest, do.
Right.
Got you.
Yeah.
Um, I appreciate you again.
And enjoy whatever you can. Have a good
Yes,
time.
that means like actually living life, not just
Right.
being alive,
Right.
like
Survival
living.
versus like living, which I'm still trying to figure out how to do. I mean, to be
Yeah,
honest.
we
Yeah.
gotta get a whole team for you. Seriously, you deserve that. Protect Simone, please, please, everyone.
Right.
Protect Simone.
Yeah.
Um, and that goes for your family, your loved ones, everyone. I wasn't even going to go into this, but I had to share because on this platform, there's thousands of people around the world that will listen to hear your story. Um, if there's anything you need to share within the show notes and details on, because I know you want to go through the process of getting these transplants, please share that with me so I can insert that into the show notes. Because I know, like my father, he has been on dialysis for the last 7 years,
Mm,
and I know how it's hard getting even family members to go get screened
right,
to see if they could even have a blood type match. Like it's nearly impossible to get done.
right.
And yeah, just share those notes with me because
Yeah, I also had transfusion, so they said it made like a harder. It's gonna be like harder to find a match for me,
you know,
which I didn't. I still don't really understand, but
I don't know either. I've never heard that one because I've known many people who've gotten transfusions.
yeah, I don't know. I was like, okay, what does that mean?
You know, you can actually be on multiple lists, right?
But only in state. You can only be in one hospital per state,
Right.
which I'm in. Like they they said that they think I should change the hospitals, but I'm also like, do I really want to start this process over again? And how long will it take for me to start this process over again somewhere else? I'm still like trying to like even know what I'm in for, and also like
Really?
you can't prepare like because they want me to have the double. I have to one wait for somebody to die, which is interesting, like a more of a thing to consider.
Uh,
But like also like suddenly I would have to like just drop whatever to like go in and just suddenly like change my life, right? Like one day
I've
I'm
heard of people that were in the middle of dialysis that got that
right.
call.
Like I'm like, what if I'm like I don't know what I would be doing, but like
Just pull it out and just get
right, get over here,
leaking,
right, and be
leaking, gotta
prepared to like
hold in a
be out,
bag.
right, be out for like who knows how long because I don't even know what that process is
Right.
like. And then I heard they leave the old organs in, which is
Yep.
interesting.
Just slide it to the right. Just slide it.
Right?
And I noticed because my wife works in the OR, she's a surgical assistant, and she talks about that. How we just push them over a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah, I was like, how does that work? It's just there, like,
It's just there. The
dang.
we come from an era. Let me see if you remember this. There was a movie that came out in 1983, I think, the year we were born. Um, Basket Case. Do you remember that?
Tell me more.
It was a horror film.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Twin brothers. One of the brothers was like this. You remember Brain from Ninja Turtles?
Yes.
He was like that, and the one twin kept him in a basket, and he would like hop out that basket and go like murder people.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was crazy, but yeah,
Now I want to
basket
see.
case. Yeah, you
I
gotta
did
go
watch a
look.
lot of TV. I'm like, I might have seen it.
Right. So as we do wind down, I do have this question. You already answered it a little bit, but not quite. How I'm going to present it to you
Okay.
someday, one day. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday, because we hold on to hope. Hope is what drives us, what keeps us looking forward to a future with or without this chronic health condition.
Right.
We know it all started with diabetes. So on that day, even if you've already been through your transplants and medically sound, have true functional cures. But on the day you find out that a true functional cure is here for everyone, not just you, everyone in the community has access to this, and it's been proving to work 100%, even if it's as simple as a pill. Like, and everyone is like, we're getting cured, whether it's here in the US or in countries, third world countries such as Uganda, where access to insulin is limited to none.
Mm,
The cure is the functional cure is here, and everyone's been fully cured of living with type 1 diabetes. On that day you find out you've been fully cured, Simone, what do you do?
that's a good question. I never envisioned it. Um, I That's a good question. I think I might like. I think I would plan to travel. To be honest, that's like the one thing I didn't really get to do. I wanted to consider like traveling a little bit more during the or like right before the pandemic. I was like, oh, I want to like check out other places just because there are a lot of places I haven't been. Uh, and then the pandemic happened, and then like losing jobs happened. So probably like considering going places, but right now I'm like really, I just want to make. I really want to like share my art. I really want to like um, keep like building community. I feel like like I've been a little isolated, especially the last few months. I've been in and out of the hospital. So like, I think I think I want to branch out more. I think I would like feel this like, I feel like now that you have me thinking about it, I feel like I would want to expand like my engagement, like hang out with folks a little bit more, travel, see all the people that like I never got to see or visit, you know, visit places that I've wanted to visit, and show my art more. Um, Not that I'm not thinking about that now, but the traveling is like, that's like the one thing I feel like I can't, I feel a little stuck with the dialysis stuff
Where you
right
will
now.
have to find an actual center because you don't want to
Or I
transport
mean,
all of the.
I can travel with with that. Like I'm like, how am I traveling with my machine? The one good thing about the in-home stuff, they'll send supplies to where you're going. So yes, I could find a center, and also I could, if I'm going to like one place, I could bring my part of my machine, and they'll send the supplies that I need. But it's also like having money to travel because I'm still struggling just to like house
I
myself where I'm at. To be honest, but yeah, I think, yeah, especially with the like not having to do dialysis, I think one, I would definitely go out to party. I miss like going out and dancing. Um, and I would travel, or I would plan traveling if that was like a thing for sure.
and you deserve all of that, Simone.
Do you think like because I heard them like talking about like, or like, I think as a young person I didn't think the cure would reach me kind of thing. Like it just always felt like almost like the pump, right? Like I wasn't, my behavior wasn't good enough or my control wasn't good enough to have it. It felt like the cure wouldn't be accessible to me. Um, or like there would be this obstacle to get it that I probably couldn't, like, you know what I mean, get through,
I know.
to be honest. Uh, so like I don't think I really ever considered, like I heard it, I saw that movie Human Trial a couple years ago, or maybe a year or
Yeah.
so ago, where they like, some people did like this the cell thing. I forgot what it was like really talking about, but it was like trying to find a cure, and I didn't really know. I didn't really understand. Like yeah, it's a lot of things. As long as I've had diabetes, is like new to me. Even like I'm learning about the honeymoon. I didn't really learn about that till recently, where I did a logo for someone. Um,
Yeah, in more recent years, yeah, so Human Trial, I believe, came out 2022.
right,
But since then, um, trials have been ongoing, and there have been people that have been living without insulin dependence for the last 4 or 5 years.
really?
So, yes, really.
Oh,
Um, so we know that there's a chance.
mm,
You know, the human studies have only been going on again for 4 or 5 years, so we know we need more studies, more experience.
right,
But I know, like you and I, if we can get 1 year free of free of diabetes, even if it means it comes back, 1 year means so much time we will have to be able to do so much more. And on
right,
that day that cure is here, Simone, even before then, if you're available and I'm in the city, we gonna celebrate,
for sure,
okay?
definitely.
Because more recently, I've been taking trips to the city, doing different things. But if I'm there and because there's always like there's a group of uh black people, black like people that look like us that hold like meetups in
Oh,
New York City.
oh,
I don't think you're on that group. It's run by a young lady named Ashley. And so she created this group, and they have meetups every now and then. And I'm going to tell her to add you to that group because she probably doesn't know you.
right. Yeah.
But
There's a lot.
she's very welcoming and endearing. Like she's a beautiful soul, beautiful spirit. Um, but yeah, I do want to meet with you because we not only do we need to have conversation, but let's do some art. Let's I don't do the club scene, but we only get this one life.
We only gotta do the club. I just wanted to dance anywhere. I don't know if I do the club scene anymore either, because I tried to go and I was like 20 something to the 30 something. I
Don't
was like, I don't know about
don't
this.
even understand the music or the rhythm.
Right.
You gotta learn some TikTok dances.
Okay.
Either that or Fortnite. Those are the
Oh,
dances
man.
people do. Like, but yeah, I would like to meet with you and do those things in person. But if we
Sure.
on the day of cure is here, we're going to expand that and be able to travel and do all of the above.
Right.
Uh, Simone, my friend, it has been a true honor of sitting here and having this conversation with you.
Same.
I truly appreciate you. Thank you for joining me on the Chronically Well podcast, where we have real conversations with community that needs to be heard. Because Simone, you are someone that truly needs and deserves to be heard. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good one.
Appreciate you. You as well. Enjoy. Could you send me over like a bio and a photo that you would like for your episode? Because even though I have, I think, like 23 episodes ahead of yours, I'm going to try to squeeze yours in early because it needs to happen now.
Okay. Can I have the day? I mean, I have like
Um,
my art bio if you want it. But yeah, how long? Like a quick one?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that. Give
Thank-
me like the day. I'll do it
Okay.
by tonight.
All right. Appreciate you.
All right.
Enjoy the day.
Thank you too.